If Chloe Cole had the marketing team of Greta Thunberg, she should be in a similar position for the right now. But I did a video a day or so ago. I can't even remember when it came out, mostly because I don't know where it's going to end up shaking out in the schedule. But regardless, the right are cucks at this point, okay? And instead of being real fighters, like some conservatives that are out there, Carrie Lake, Greg Abbott, and Ron DeSantis, first and foremost, at least the ones that are elected right now, the ones that I like. If they would do their job, actually have a fighting chance in the culture war. But until then, you just need podcasters, pundits, commentators in order to do their job for them. Meanwhile, they'll just sit up there at the top and then just fight back and push back on little fucking fringe issues, but never really get to the bottom of any of the problems that are out there. But this one, like I said here before, we actually did a video on Chloe Cole to begin with, okay? All of those horror stories I think I did that during Pride Month, because of course I did, about the horrors of detransitioning, of kids being brainwashed by the public school system, which is, again, I find it oh so funny. People saying, oh, we need to open up those schools, and oh, we just can't be having our kids being taught any of that CRT stuff. So again, you're advocating for kids to go to a school where you know they're being taught nonsense instead of, I don't know, pushing for school choice. Some states have adopted that, which is great. Or just doing the little bit of legwork in order to homeschool your kids and make sure that they're actually going to become productive individuals. It's very odd, but oh, I don't have enough time, and oh, we need two incomes in this family in order to live in some downtown city where, you know, you just decide your kid's fate and you just put it in the hands of some $40,000 a year communist with $200,000 of debt to their name in order to be indoctrinated and turned into a trans fucking statistic, like what Chloe Cole ended up going through, being indoctrinated by the system, going through a double mastectomy, being put on puberty blockers, okay, going through the whole fucking rigmarole, waking up one day realizing that, oh fuck, either I can detransition or go through with this plan to put a noose around my neck. And thank God she ended up choosing correctly, but still has to live with the horrors of not having tits and looking down and just seeing two scars from a fucking butcher who should be put on a wall right next to one of the maps. And now she came forward with her story alongside a bunch of other people, and that list is fucking growing, which does kind of give me hope to push against this alphabet mafia agenda and maybe start to de-glamorize trans gentlemen. But that's still going to be a couple years away, because again, the marketing behind Chloe Cole should mimic that of Greta Thunberg, but of course not, because the right are just fucking pussies. But instead of being received with adoration and respect of going through a horrific time, okay, recognizing her mistake, still having to live with the consequences, but then being legitimately brave enough to tell the tale, because this is where the actual bravery comes from, okay? Being supported completely 1000% by the fucking system requires no bravery at all whatsoever. Like if I, a 6'6", 2 and some change, okay, go and beat up the local retarded kid, nobody's gonna give me any fucking credit for, oh, yeah, at least he hopped into the ring and he fought valiantly. Nobody's gonna give me that fucking credit. Not like I would. Not like I'd expect any of that, because that would be sick as shit. Just as sick of sending a teenage kid through hormone therapy and life-altering surgeries, but speaking out, telling the tale, and especially during Pride Month, that deserves some props. But no, Forbes, actual Forbes. This isn't an offshoot. This isn't a dollar store version of Forbes. The publication Forbes wrote a hit piece, and the author of that hit piece we're going to be getting into here, because that's a very interesting human being, to say the least. But Forbes removes an article about the detransitioned teenage girl for violation of editorial guidelines. Oh, yeah, because it just openly slandered and lied about everything. Imagine that. Forbes has removed an article that was critical of a teenage girl who was speaking out about the dangers of child sex change surgeries and other procedures. The story you referenced was removed yesterday morning because it did not adhere to Forbes' editorial guidelines. Yes, the gold standard in print media right there. And again, Forbes is still one of the reliable sources, trusted sources online. Cool. Bill Hanks, a spokesperson for Forbes, told the Epoch Times via email, the article was about Chloe Cole, who underwent breast removal surgery at age 15, but now regrets her choice and urges others to learn from her mistakes. Yeah, I believe she's also sterile as well. I don't know if she went through bottom surgery too, but I'm not asking any more questions because that's just fucked. The story contained multiple factual errors, an Epoch Times review found. Yeah, I would pull up the original article, but like you can see, it's been pulled down and it's been replaced with an editorial banner that says, it was taken down for reasons. But still, it was allowed to go up. It was up there for a few fucking days. It described biological male, biological female, and biological sex as nonsense words. This was published in Forbes. In Forbes, nonsense words. Biological fact is now nonsense words, as opposed to okay. That were coined during the North Carolina bathroom bill days specifically to oppress trans people. You want to know where all this shit started? I pointed this out, you know what, and again, I'm not the only person to do that. I'm just saying I was one of the first people to really connect the dots, at least the ones that I'm aware of. And all this stuff started to come up real hard and fast as an emotional play, and it all seemed brand new, but no, I seem to remember, and it was just that little 4 fucking years of brightness that was there during the Trump presidency, which is looking all the better in hindsight. But anyways, all of this stuff really started to kick off in on or around 2015 with North Carolina saying that dudes go in the dude's bathroom, girls go in the girl's bathroom. Any fucking questions? No. Oh, no, I mean, NCAA, okay, don't step in and take away the Final Four from us. We'll just go ahead and let sex offenders into whatever bathroom they want to go in. Just please don't punish us any further. That's where all this shit started. And then Trump came in and was like, no, bathrooms are for certain people. If I, as a builder, if I only had to build one bathroom, excuse me, I would only build one because it's more beneficial to me as a builder. So I would do that. But no, we aren't doing that. Children shouldn't be harassed by, excuse me, people like that are out there. They're sick individuals, everybody. Bill in question, which barred people from using bathrooms that didn't correspond with their biological sex, was approved in 2016. Authors and writers were using the terms for years before then. The article also claimed that Libs of TikTok creator Chaya Rachik's campaign against minor sex change procedures is based on lies. It's funny because we'll get to the author of this removed article right here, but since Libs of TikTok was brought up, and I don't really have any desire to do like a full breakdown or a full video on this one specifically, but you got Taylor Lorenz, for whatever fucking reason, still employed by the Washington Post because she did dox the Libs of TikTok during the Johnny Depp Amber Heard days. I think that's when it first came out, some way in on or around there. But she was also playing the victim pretty hard during that time because she also doxed, again, that umbrella guy because she continues to run hit pieces. Taylor Lorenz wrote me again. She had to tell me she's using my name because she's writing a revenge piece. I embarrassed her nationally. I noticed you didn't come to my house. Oh, you come to my house like Libs of TikTok. What's the matter? Only target women IRL? Oh, God, put it on the board for Tug. But anyways, Libs of TikTok really had a genius response. I didn't know about the one for the upcoming creep that we're going to profile a little bit more. But at least for Taylor Lorenz, oh my God, that's so perfect. Sends her a DM for whatever fucking reason. And again, it just goes to show you the character of one side of the aisle, at least for the fighters on one side that's out there. Doesn't block somebody who doxed you. Doesn't block somebody who's wrote hit piece after hit piece, who ended up getting a demotion for their terrible journalism, but is still employed at Washington Post. Fucking funny about that. Anyways, writes this long fucking screed. Hi, Chaya. A colleague of mine is publishing a big story on influencers who spread narratives about election fraud in 2020, exploring what happened to their megaphones after Trump was deplatformed. See, already just trying to paint her in a certain light. Listen, we're going to be running a hit piece on you, so can you just go ahead and comment on that because we need your extremist views on that. That'd be great. Okay, thanks. Yeah, you are not one of those influencers, so why are you contacting me on that one? But your account has received extensive promotion from them. Oh, see, so you're not alt-right. You're just alt-right adjacent, okay? We mention you in the story. Okay, if it's not about me, then why do you mention me in the story? Asking questions. Oh yeah, we mention in your story that your account has helped to foster violence and that your posts led to death threats against medical providers at Boston Children's Hospital. Again, all of these nebulous claims, none of which have been backed up or quantified or verified in any form or fashion. And again, this isn't just from some fucking random profile on Twitter. This is from a journalist at the Washington Post, one of the most highly regarded rags that are out there by the people in power. Not my opinion of the outlet, that's just the way it is, okay? We also say that you intend to continue to target hospitals. How do you even know that's the case? But again, just painting her in such a fucking light. But hey, I'm giving you a heads up on that. Do you have any comment? The piece is running tomorrow morning, so please send through a response to the above request by 5 p.m. PST. Thanks. Look when that was sent. 3:18 p.m. Don't know about time zones or anything like that, but just a shade under if we're to go with everything on that. Probably a shade under 2 hours. Yeah. If you have any comment about you being called an extremist, a terrorist, a liar, and a fraud, that would be very, very much appreciated. But like it said in the caption there, why is she obsessed with me? Taylor Lorenz, I don't want to date you. Taylor is very sad that I rejected her, but I softened the blow with some good news. As she continues to post, yep, you can see him right there. Hi, Chaya. Just following up. Please send through a response by 5 p.m. PST. Thanks. So yeah, time frame must be a little bit off or something like that. Chaya post back. I'm sorry, I can't date you. I'm straight. Lol. How quick was that response? 6 minutes later. After typing all of this stuff out. Hi, Chaya. I think you accidentally replied to the wrong DM. Oh, no. This is Taylor Lorenz from the Washington Post. Ooh, that would have meant something in the days of Watergate, but not anymore. It's kind of just a fucking joke for the people who know. And we're asking you to reply to the question above. We mentioned in a story running tomorrow morning that your account has helped fostered violence. Again, we're running a hit piece on you and just calling you some of the worst shit under the yellow sun. Would you like to comment on any of it? So yeah, helps foster violence, and your posts led to the death threats against medical providers at Boston Children's Hospital. I could have done a full video on this, but anyways, yeah, Boston Children's Hospital was openly bragging about targeting kids in order to do gender transition surgery, and also fundraising off of it. And Libs of TikTok just put up their communications on that, some of their publicly available communications. Like, Libs of TikTok doesn't do anything that just a simple Google search can. It's just a nice aggregator of all this degeneracy. Anyways, yeah, against Boston Children's Hospital, and a bomb threat caused the hospital to be evacuated. That's terrible. Did Chaya actually call in that bomb threat? Do you have any evidence that would go ahead and corroborate those claims that reporting on this story somehow led to the bomb threat, or any of the violence, or any of the misinformation or disinformation? Oh, we don't say that you did any of that, mostly because your TikTok or your Twitter account didn't begin until midway through 2021, or at least that's when I started to take note of this. Breaking character for a second. Started to take note of this after the whole Biden voters posting their L's online just hit a big high, and then started retweeting Nick fucking Fuentes, and then just fucking fell right off of a cliff, and nobody cares about them anymore. Oh well, lay with cat boys and cum detectives, and you end up reaping what you sow. But anyways, yeah, back to what stupid Taylor Lorenz had to say about that. We also say you intend to continue to target hospitals. What the fuck do you even have to go on any of that shit? Do you have any comment on that? Hey, Tay. I know getting rejected must be really difficult. In some good news, Ross has a 55+ senior discount on Tuesdays, so maybe that'll make you feel a little bit better. Oh, she's old and she's terrible, and she shops at discount stores. Fucking brutal, dude. But yeah, that little aside, it's always fun to dunk on commies, so we just had to take that opportunity. We'll be able to do another one here in a second, but anyways, back to this. Rachik has highlighted how some institutions promote performing the procedures on minors, Boston Children's Hospital, chief among those, as has Cole. The story acknowledges that some procedures have been performed on minors. Yeah, no, exactly. And I seen some excerpts from this article before it got taken down, and oh boy, is it funny. It's a way to use the English language that is normally reserved for some of the most devious women in certain fucking heated arguments. Well, you said one thing and then another. Perfect example. Okay, so that dude called me a liar. What the fuck? I didn't call you a liar. Well, what specifically? Why did I specifically call you a liar? The conversation that we were having wasn't really about being a liar. It was about being dishonest. And you said that if I was to talk to somebody and Not fully disclose what I did for a living in hopes of dating them. That would be dishonest. See how the little shift in English language goes from you're saying that somebody's a liar to a certain hypothetical situation is somehow being construed as a liar. Not calling the person a liar, calling the act a liar. Big fucking difference, but something that apparently skips and just gets right past the editorial board at what was that publication again? All right, Forbes. Anyways, story was initially published by the Los Angeles Blade, which describes itself as a newspaper covering the latest gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender news in Southern California and around the world. How adorable. Any stories on transgender people and lesbian, gay, or bisexuals in the Middle East? That's what I'd like to know. What's the toss count on a certain day? Don Enos, the reporter, said that the fact led to Forbes taking the article down. I was informed Monday morning that the article was temporarily withdrawn from public view because my contact with Forbes clearly states I cannot repost original work published elsewhere. That's not what the editorial board said on that one. Anyways, I am working with my editor on a new expanded report with fresh content that my story in the Blade was inspired, Enos told the Epoch Times via email. The article will include a note referencing this decision, which is again Forbes' policy that worketh ongoing, and I look forward to sharing it with my readers ASAP. Folks, the Forbes spokesperson later replied as a question at hand, no, we don't comment on specific guidelines violated that cause the removal of a contributor's work. Yeah, let's get to the specific things that were mentioned in there that are just fucking atrocious. I will also say that I stand by my reporting, and my support for detransitioners, just not this one because she's vocal and won't shut the fuck up. As you no doubt already know, actually probably don't, I once detransitioned briefly 9 years ago, and despite our disagreements, I am very invested in the cause of supporting LGBT youth, including those who detransition. Enos is a biological male who identifies as a female, who then detransitioned and then transitioned again because the attention hit just wasn't enough. Once, twice, needed the third hit. Story remains on the Blade website. Oh, goody. We might have to find the source article on this one. Actually, I have Chloe's Twitter pulled up here for a second, and she got asked some questions by the journalist that's out there in the caption before we read through the rest of the questions that are on here. From Dawn Enos. Yeah, it was abysmal journalism. Check out these questions I was asked. Trying to pay me like some sort of a terrorist. What a disgrace. And yeah, I found an archived version of the article that's in there. We can go ahead and take a look at it specifically. But here's some of the questions that she was asked. My next question is, what are your thoughts about Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene? We're talking about transitioning, what does MTG have to do with any of the, anyways? Who is anti-trans and spreading lies about students identifying as furries? Oh yeah, and being provided litter boxes in their schools. Yeah, okay, sure. Don't do that, and furries should be gassed. What are your thoughts about the Proud Boys? Oh, there it is. Oh, okay, cool. I don't know. I'm just a kid who made a really bad decision about chopping off my tits. I have no idea about the Proud Boys and their actions against a drag queen story hour in libraries in California and elsewhere. Didn't go far enough. Do you agree that the drag performers aren't necessarily trans and vice versa? No, they're just proto-trans. I've seen that you follow libs of TikTok. I've been stalking your social media. I know they won't be available for questions tonight because it's Shabbat. What are you trying to out them as Jewish? Are you trying to make this a conspiracy theory, you fucking weirdo? But I would like to know what you think of their actions and that of Kiwi Farms. Oh, okay. Both of which have been linked to anti-trans violence. Yeah, no, Kiwi Farms, you remember, they got taken off a Cloudflare because of the escalation of violent rhetoric and couldn't provide any receipts for that. No, just had a deranged individual that I have to go to a bed. I need to hide from people, and at the same time, I'm so scared about my safety that I post pictures from inside of my Airbnb location. Not once, but twice. Congratulations on being really fucking smart. Your tweet about a trans boy's top surgery yesterday. Oh, a girl chopping off her tits. Why not just word it like biological fact? All right, you don't agree and you don't believe in biology. Anyways, yesterday was very unpopular, and I was wondering, very unpopular? Maybe with you, stupid, but again, I'm not a journalist, okay? If you've met anyone who had, oh, and I was wondering if you've met anybody who had had top surgery. Yeah, Chloe. And didn't regret it or think that it was barbaric, but actually life-saving. How would that be? Unless you're talking with like 60-year-old women who have been diagnosed with breast cancer, I don't think anybody, okay, who would initially just go through that whole regret phase, which is about 20 to 40% of trans people. I think it might actually be higher than that. I could be confusing that with the suicide attempt statistics. Anyways, I can respect that you and others think that way, but for the vast majority of families, sources needed of trans kids, this is affirming. Oh, this is an affirming photograph, and this is something to be celebrated, not mocked or mourned or ridiculed. Why can't you respect their perspective? Likewise, how about that? Just flip this back on her. Why can't you just respect that I have an opinion on this? No, you're denying the right to exist. Why participate in a campaign of anti-trans hate? What, by saying that chopping kids' tits off is fucking barbaric? I don't even know the initial stance, okay? And I wouldn't necessarily take your opinion of this, fellow journalist, because you're a monster. And even you went through some regret for at least a 9-year period right there. Just saying. I'd imagine it probably continues on here. Oh, yes, you got 7. What happened to you is a tragedy, travesty, unfair and unjust, poisoning the well. I don't know enough of who to... I don't know enough to know who to blame. It's ultimately, well, she was underage at the time, so probably the people that indoctrinated her. I would place, well, and some personal responsibility for going through and all that stuff. But again, until the age of consent, which is 18 in these situations, so chopping off kids' tits is fucking atrocious. This is some Middle Ages shit. I'm also confident that you aren't the only one. I believe... Oh, I believe you. Oh, thank you. That means so much from a sex offender. When you say there are many others who's detransitioned, but I need to ask. Oh, thank God you actually got to a question. Is there anything I could say or do that would make you understand the campaign to halt the harm, in fact, of causing harm to young people? Yeah, as you can see with Chloe illustrating, trying to paint her as a terrorist, literally saying that her posting opinions online is somehow going to lead to trans violence or some shit like that. And again, just give people who've transitioned enough time and they'll commit enough violence against themselves. Just for posterity's sake, we'll just finish this out. How do we know this is you answering these questions and not someone responding on your behalf? Oh, in addition to these questions, I tweeted last night. My editor sent me these. That's nice. Who financed your trips to Sacramento, Florida, Louisiana, and Ohio? Probably a bunch of activist doctors that really needed a success case out there. And are you receiving funding from any group or organization that will identify? Was it your mom that's seated to your left after you testified in Ohio? If not, who was it? Who helped you write your testimony? Oh yeah, just a whole bunch of fucking outing shit. And it's like, how close are you to MTG? Because we'd really like to smell her hair too. But let's just take a look at one of our first archives that are out there. And like I said, I know a couple of different points that are in here, so... And the fact that Forbes has a DIE section, a diversity, inclusion, and equity subcategory, makes me sick to my stomach. Ex-trans activist Chloe Cole, in her own words, I'm autistic. See, she doesn't have she's not a trans hater. She has a mental disorder. Weird. Oh, but just going down some of this article, I'll link to it, of course, if you want to go through it yourself. It's a pretty lengthy fucking screed with not much information in it at all other than some slander. But yeah, the whole link with Marjorie Taylor Greene, okay, Chloe Cole's initial tweet that's on there, and I have it changed a little bit, or at least a little bit quasi-censored, because just for YouTube, and because it makes me sick to my stomach to see those scars on a kid's chest. Reality check, nothing is okay about this. That is literally calling for violence out there. And then Marjorie Taylor Greene go ahead and retweets it. This child is not even old enough to vote, buy cigarettes, or watch an R-rated movie, but but they let her choose to have them cut her breasts off. My Protect Children's Innocence Act will stop this. What's wrong about that? So here's where it gets good, questionable, evil. Evil is what I'll go with. Since her emergence on the public scene in April, trans adults have been digging into Chloe's claims. Oh, okay, so perverts looking at, well, I guess she's 18 years old now, so they might be she might be a little bit too old for some of these people. Anyways, digging into Chloe's claims, some note the fact that the surgery takes years of planning and preparation and is not done on a whim or under pressure. Oh yeah, about her own butchering that went on. There is rampant speculation that her travels have been paid for by anti-LGBTQ activists. Chloe denied that on Twitter, noting, "The only people who have bought and sold me and my body are the gender specialists and surgeons that sold my family and I a lie." The Blade, the original publication, asked her to elaborate on this question as part of our email exchange, which we went through. "My trips are self-funded with help from crowdfunding via Twitter tips." Oh, adorable. Mentally ill people on Twitter funding terrible fucking decisions. How adorable. Some wonder about the total silence from and invisibility of her parents, while others questioned whether she is being coached based on how she appears eloquent when reading her prepared testimony, but speaks haltingly and struggles to allow direct questions. Oh, imagine that. Somebody who's autistic has a good grasp on the English language when they have the script written out in front of them, as opposed to freeballing conversations, which, unless you properly practice on a consistent basis, can be a little haphazard, even for some of the best public speakers that are out there. Just saying, that's just a little weird dig at somebody who's 18 years old. But again, a dig you would make at somebody who is ideologically your opponent. Makes sense? Following the publication of the story in The Blade, Cole, still Chloe, tweeted that the reason for her speech issues is autism and accused the reporter of making fun of her. Well, funny thing about that reporter who wrote this very article, Chloe tweeted that she's tweeted about being autistic before, and yeah, cites her all of her sources and all that stuff. There's also one media reference to her autism I found. Very bad form if you're writing an article for a publication to use yourself in first-person terminology, especially if you're going back and forth saying that, well, she was conversing with the author, and then I found. Interesting. Post-publication of the far-right outlet, the Epoch Times. Far-right outlet? The Epoch Times? No, actually, they've been measured multiple times and have been shown to be one of the most balanced outlets that are out there. But again, why would I expect some such journalistic integrity from Forbes? Weird. Reader must provide an email address for access. I've got one. I've got an account. I pay those motherfuckers for their good journalism that they do. Anyways, others in the transgender community, oh god, just a bunch of fucking mental midgets, who have looked into Chloe's claims have also not seen that disclosure. Well, she didn't talk about it before, and because she's not one of us anymore, we can just go ahead and call her some of the worst things under the sun. Can anyone help dig up transcripts of every time Chloe Cole has given her detransition story? We need to run a diff. Still, others have doubted her account because of medical inconsistencies in her treatment and subsequent health conditions. Oh yes, because there's just a standardized procedure that these kids are put through by activist medical professionals. So now you're pointing out inconsistencies? Huh, weird. Endocrinologists generally do not prescribe puberty blockers and testosterone simultaneously. Oh, really? It's funny because you kind of self-snitched on yourself right there in your own writing. Endocrinologists generally do not. Can they, though? Generally, they don't. Someone would get puberty blockers prior to experiencing puberty, and testosterone would be prescribed thereafter. Oh, okay, cool. So she went through this at 15, by the way. So either went through puberty later, okay, or was in the midst of doing it, and then in order to reverse the female puberty that would have been on there, would have induced or introduced testosterone into their body. Just saying. I'm not an endocrinologist or anything, somebody who would prescribe all of these life-altering therapeutics. But again, generally, I wouldn't know what I'm talking about. Cole tweeted that her doctor did not follow the World Professional Association for Transgender Health's standard of care. Oh, well, if you didn't do that, then therefore you didn't end up going through all of those butchering procedures. Another question is whether the tweets sent by Cole, are even compromised or composed by Chloe herself. Oh, see, she's autistic and stupid. She can't even tweet for herself. Man, these motherfuckers, they'd be coddling her if she didn't go through the detransition story. Just fucking atrocious conduct. The Twitter account she is using recently as July, Pudding Pandan, appears to no longer be active. Yeah, imagine that. Cole said that is not the case. I just changed my Twitter handle from Pudding Pandan. I think that's even what it was when we referenced it way back in the cut, but okay. To Chew Cole because I thought it was irrelevant to my message. She wrote, yeah, no, exactly. If you're being called by certain news outlets and it's like, oh, she's on Twitter at Pudding Pandan. I mean, Chew Cole. See, it sounds a little bit better because, again, she's, trying to be a voice of reason for what she went through, which is legitimate and honest and fine, okay? And she's actually getting media calls instead of, writing hit pieces. I've used the same Twitter account from the start. Yeah, so you should be able to go through all of the older tweets prior to the handle switch. Anyways, she repurposed a familiar line when asked who composes her tweets, the insinuation that a young woman can't write a coherent tweet is extremely misogynistic. So instead of rebutting that, you don't have anything, you just end up writing that pretty concise dunk. Interesting. She's autistic. She clearly wouldn't know any multisyllabic words. Okay, cool. Oh man, post-transition regret is incredibly rare? Wow! Please tell me more, activist who originally published this article in a pro-Alphabet Mafia publication. Regardless of what anyone's perception of double mastectomy is, it's human butchering. Cosmetic surgery that rids a young female of her unique ability to feed their future children is not something a child is old enough to fully grasp the importance of, Cole said. It's an unethical practice that must be stopped. Yeah, no, and if things get to that point, okay, you've already basically sterilized yourself chemically by introducing testosterone, puberty blockers, and all that stuff as well. Some even go as far as just having a complete hysterectomy. There's no denying Cole is suffering as a result of what she described as her realization 2 years ago, but that she'd never breastfeed. But the facts, whatever they are in Cole's case, aren't as important as reality, which is that hers is still just one case. Oh, cool. Now you're just going to go ahead and point to the exceptions in order to prove disprove your rule. How adorable. Heartbreaking as it may be. Cole is an outlier compared to the vast majority of positive outcomes as cited by a journalist, Zach Ford, who I'm probably also convinced definitely isn't on a registry somewhere and doesn't have to knock on doors whenever he moves into a new place. Last year, Ford reported fewer than 5% of people who undergo a gender transition experience regret it later. What do you mean by that? And as NBC News reported, detransition occurred in 0.4% of respondents who said they realized, like Cole, that transition was not right for them. Okay, cool. So these are the people that went through the whole kit and caboodle. What are the numbers here? Like how many people go through all of this stuff? Or people that I just identify as gender fluid. Is that an experience? Or is an experience going under the knife? And what kind of time frame are we looking at here? Because it looks like you're cherry picking a couple of statistics. Of course, gender transition cannot fix underlying mental health or personality issues. I would argue that gender transition requires underlying mental health and personality issues. But tomato, tomato. Cole maintains expecting a child to understand the real-life consequences of gender surgeries is unconscionable, exactly for the same reasons that Marjorie Taylor Greene cited. But again, you can just go ahead and live in your fantasy world, you fucking pedo. Justifying the idea that a minor can consent to something like this is akin to the idea that a minor can consent to sex, tobacco, or alcohol consumption, or any legally binding documents, she wrote. It cannot be okay, no matter the lens that you view it through. In California, my home state, sorry to hear about that, a minor can't even enter a tanning booth. It's unethical to perform these surgeries on minors. No, it's not, because some people don't report any regret because that's fine. But here's one of probably the biggest cell phones that you didn't even know was a cell phone. That's legitimately included in this story. Okay, but this is just going back to Libs of TikTok's inclusion in this because, again, literally Hitler, fucking the scourge of Twitter, whatever the fuck. Okay, her campaign is based off lies, the fact-checking team at PolitiFact. Oh, good, Forbes is citing PolitiFact. What could possibly go wrong? Determined Raychick's viral claim was false. In reference to Boston Children's Hospital. Okay. While there have been exceptions for some 15, 16, and 17-year-olds, keep that in mind for a second. Most surgeons won't operate on anybody younger than 18 years old. See what you did there. I don't think you did either. While there have been exceptions for some 15, 16, and 17-year-olds, we don't do surgeries under 18. Unless, of course, there are some exceptions that are made. And this is who we have to thank for this wonderful article. Dawn Enos. Okay, she, her, hers. For the second time. Okay, I guess the third time? Okay. No, second time, right. She's been a guy twice, and now she's a very unattractive lady again. But you take a look, it's like, okay, I got another archived post of her Twitter account, which is kind of weird. And again, just another sign of just strong mental aptitude. 50,000 tweets from a account that's 14 years old. Nice and solid. Take a look at the bio here for a second. Life after dawn. Oh, that just sounds like a wonderful middle-aged wine mom's Twitter handle if I've ever seen one. So looks like you made the right decision on that one. No regrets in your future, at least again. Forbes, Daily Beast, of course, CT Voice Mag, Los Angeles Blade, Out Magazine, and Star Trek. Of course, always Star Trek. U of Heart Professor, a mom of what? Mets fan. You're a dude. What are you talking about? Previously worked at Advocate Mag, ABC, NBC, CNN, CBS. Cool. You guys notice anything else as well? Of her Twitter account right there. That's her banner, which has since been changed, by the way. You got a picture of Andy No with a milkshake, a concrete milkshake or something like that is poured over his head. Oh, picture of Chloe Cole right there. Oh, and another one as well. Libs of TikTok as well, and some excerpt from some dumb shit like that. And then the cartoon avatar. What on top of that? Oh, I condone any/all violence. Huh. Weird. She since changed it to one of those pride flags that if you put 4 of them together, you can make look like a swastika. That's what she's changed it to right now. It could be completely different by the time that this video sees the light of day. But, okay, ABC News is on there. Former contributor, but you've got such an extensive resume there. You don't have room for any more accolades there? Oh, shit, that's because an ABC producer who changed gender 3 times is fired weeks after the latest transformation for performance-related issues. Dawn Enos, formerly Dawn Enos. Yeah, if it isn't stupid enough, you even put some fucking hatred on my name. Identified as both man and woman during her career working at ABC. How adorable. And then sucked at her fucking job. As if you needed any more evidence. Based on that hit piece that she did for Forbes. Well, it's not for Forbes anymore. It's actually been taken down. But get this one. Like it said in the Twitter bio there. I don't know if it's been changed or whatever. Yeah. Professor, mom, and Mets fan. Which also should be another sign of mental illness. Because fuck the Mets. This May, father of 3, Enos, once again took the identity of Dawn. So she fathered 3 kids. Yeah, that's an English language sentence right there. Fathered 3 kids. Is now a mom. Sucks at her job, sucks at being a dude, and is now spending all of that time attacking somebody who ended up getting put through a butcher knife by a bunch of activists that are out there. Yeah, you're living a life well spent. But with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.